Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever felt that sinking heavy, just absolutely exhausted feeling of being totally unappreciated in your relationship, well, I want to start by validating something right off the bat. You are not being needy, and you're definitely not being dramatic. What you're experiencing is actually a very real biological alarm bell, and it's sounding off right inside your body. So let's dive into this kind of brutal irony. You know the drill, right? You do all the work to hold the relationship together. You're the one remembering the in laws' birthdays. You notice when the kids are in a weird mood. You're planning the meals, managing the schedules, the whole shebang. But what actually happens? The harsh truth is the more you do, the more invisible you become. You literally wake up one day to the reality that you're just loving and to avoid while your partner's just kind of participating, showing up, sure, but never actually initiating. And this reality completely flips traditional relationship advice on its head. I mean, you've probably been told to just communicate your needs or schedule gratitude time, right? But honestly, doing that is like slapping a band-aid on a broken bone, because feeling unseen is not a thinking problem. It's a nervous system event. Your conscious mind, your prefrontal cortex is desperately trying to communicate, but it's trying to override the amygdala and the brain stem, which are operating on an entirely different level. Which brings us to section 1, the body keeps score. It is super important to understand that our bodies are keeping track of vital emotional data way, way before language ever even enters the picture. Think of your nervous system as this permanent ledger. Every single time you load the dishwasher and it goes totally unnoticed, or you reach out and just get this distracted, it isn't just recorded as a passing thought. Nope. It's actually recorded as a physical tightening in your chest or this heavy feeling in your stomach. And this ledger, it cannot be reasoned with. It rejects empty apologies and forced gratitude the exact same way a bank rejects counterfeit bills. And this brings us to what therapists call the protester dynamic. The unappreciated partner often turns into this relentless lover driven by a deeply primal fear of abandonment. They're constantly scanning their environment for any evidence that they matter. But here's the real tragedy of it all. When they don't get that evidence, their internal alarm system goes off. And to their partner, that alarm doesn't sound like a desperate cry for connection. No, it sounds like nagging or criticism. So the withdrawing partner hears an attack, pulls back even further, and the whole cycle just tightens. I really want you to consider these two questions. Are you there for me? And am I enough for you? These two biological questions are running on an endless loop underneath literally every single fight you have about who does the dishes or setting screen time limits. And when the biological answer registers as no, it sends your attachment system into sheer biological panic. That panic doesn't usually look like fear, by the way. It shows up instinctively as hypervigilance or total emotional withdrawal. Let's move on to section 2, small moments, big wounds. It is absolutely amazing how massive relationship resentment can compress itself into the most mundane, everyday objects. Let me share a staggering number with you. 11 months. There's this case of a divorcing couple who spent 11 whole months and thousands upon thousands of dollars in litigation fees, fighting and mediation over a $40 toaster. Yes, seriously, an ordinary cheap toaster. But here's the thing, it was never actually about the appliance. It was a timestamp. During mediation, the wife completely broke down in tears and explained that the toaster was a gift from their very first Christmas together. It was literally the absolute last physical evidence she had of feeling seen and held in her husband's mind. The crucial point here is that feeling unappreciated distorts every single disagreement into a referendum on mattering. You aren't fighting about appliances, you're fighting for proof that you exist to them. Let's look at another one, a highly relatable everyday example, the 60-second coffee ledger. Just imagine a husband wakes up and makes just one cup of coffee for himself. His wife watches this happen to her pattern recognizing nervous system. This asymmetry of care compresses years of resentment into a single minute before breakfast. It spirals instantly, right? It goes from he didn't think about me, which becomes I do not matter to him, which finally lands at the devastating conclusion I am totally alone in this marriage. All right, section 3, fiat love versus real work. We really need a complete paradigm shift in how we define relationship effort. So, fiat love is verbal assurance without any real behavior change. Saying, I appreciate you while continuing to let your partner do literally everything is like a waiter praising cold food. It's basically quantitative easing for the heart, just words without any backing. On the flip side, proof of work requires the actual caloric cost of paying attention. It means expending real energy to cross the bridge into your partner's reality and holding them in your mind unprompted. Making that second cup of coffee without being asked, that, my friends, is proof of work. Next up, section 4, escaping the pursuer's trap. Now, if you're the unappreciated partner, your current expression of pain might actually be biologically backfiring. You feel unseen. So naturally, you build a prosecutor's case of all your unnoticed tasks. You present the evidence and you criticize. But what actually happens, your partner's amygdala instantly fires a threat response. They go straight into defense mode and shut down. And here is the hard biological truth. A person in defense mode is biologically incapable of feeling gratitude or seeing your pain. The cycle feeds itself, and you just end up feeling even more alone. Look, I know it's incredibly unfair that the hurting partner has to be the one to modulate their expression, but fair is not the same as effective. If you want to break this trap, you have to realize that criticism is like firing lightning at a locked vault. You absolutely must lead with vulnerability instead, saying, I feel invisible. I'm scared I don't matter to you, is the actual key that opens the lock. It creates a completely different neurological response than just snapping, you never notice anything. Leading with vulnerability actually opens your partner's nervous system instead of just slamming it shut. So, how do we fix it? Section 5, the repair protocol. True repair isn't a fancy weekend getaway or a quick bouquet of flowers. It is a daily practice. So here is an action plan if you're the unappreciated partner. Like we just talked about, lead with the feeling. Second, name the pattern, not the dismissible incident. So instead of fighting over forgotten dry cleaning, explain that being the household project manager makes you feel unseen. And this is crucial. You've got to override your own defense mode and let your partner actually succeed. When they make a positive deposit, let it actually land without any sarcastic pushback. And finally, get radically honest about what you need. Do you need help with chores? Do you need desire? Or do you just need them to fight for the relationship? Now, I want to talk directly to the genuinely confused withdrawing partner. You might feel immense love internally, but remember, internal love is functionally invisible to your partner's nervous system. You have to provide observable evidence. First, for one whole week, just stop defending and just observe. Then express appreciation with specific detail. Anticipate their needs, initiate connection, and do tasks without being asked. If it doesn't require effort, it's just cohabitation, not love. And you must commit to consistency. You got to show up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, not just a Saturday after a massive blowout fight. Now, of course, we definitely have to acknowledge that sometimes this goes much deeper than just a simple communication gap. Sometimes one partner is genuinely disengaged due to unhealed trauma, depression, or severe attachment wounds. And when that's the case, no amount of vulnerability reframing will fix it alone. You really need a skilled couples therapist to step in, create a safe space, and physically slow down the cycle for both nervous systems so you can honestly evaluate the relationship. But before we wrap this up, remember this: your nervous system did not get the memo about your 401k or your Costco membership. It operates on this ancient ancestral equation where being unseen literally meant being unprotected in the wild. Seen equals safe, unseen equals danger. So when your body reacts, it isn't overreacting. It's just running the protective program it was biologically designed to run, which brings us right to our core takeaway for today. Love is not a feeling you have, it is the work you do. Couples who learn to fight the right way eventually reach this beautiful state where both partners are finally seen. It requires energy, yes, for sure. But making your partner feel safe and held in your mind makes all that caloric cost of paying attention deeply, deeply worth it. Well, we've covered a lot of vital ground today in this explainer. Ultimately, the nervous system keeps score, and the only way to change the score is to change the entire game. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to consider for your own relationship's ledger. Are you ready to do the work? If you want to work on this for real, try Figlet, my AI relationship coaching app. You can start for free, no credit card needed, at figlet.empathy.com.